wouldn't exactly be able to tell you why I do come here. I mean, probably for design. I like how the computers look. I like that everyone brings their own funny little CRTs and transparent mods. It looks nice. It's definitely not because I reminisce about the past, because what would I reminisce about exactly? When I used to play Worms on my Amiga? No. It didn't ever happen. Realistically, I could only really reminisce about Windows 7. And being on a laptop older than me, trying to play Minecraft, that's about as far as I could go. Or, I don't know, the Nexus 7. An iPad 1. So, why do I go? Again, I mean, design. I quite like how everything is put out. It's very friendly, you know. I get to take photos and I get to take videos of whatever I want. I don't usually want to do people, just in case they don't want that, but... Yeah, I mean... If I had to tell you why I came here, why I come here... I mean, obviously, my first reason would just be that... Years ago, my dad was like, hey, you should come. And I was like, okay, I'll come. But nowadays, it's... probably more about having a look at things. Enjoying the atmosphere. I mean, for example, we have this little blue computer here, and it's definitely not something that I would have in my home that I would actually, want to build or want to use or anything, but I just think it looks cool. It's kind of like Fruit Carrera, where it's like, looks nice, but would you really want that as your house? Or like, buying an old Mac, are you really going to use that? I'm sure many people would, actually. Design. It's very important. It's what draws everyone to things. And, of course, I was going to sell a product. When I was outside and I was trying to get some footage of that, I thought people were going to think I'm insane. I mean, come on. Random kid going about outside trying to film some flowers. It looks a bit odd. And then at some point I had to sit down and look after someone's stuff because they were running off to go get a laptop. That is such a funny story. And then, eventually comes back and I'm just kind of sat there in his spot and I just think, people are going to think I look so weird, just sat in his spot. He's basically the celebrity of Spike at this point, let's be honest. You know if you know. I mean, the entire time was quite enjoyable, really. I mean, even just sitting around, I felt kind of odd, kind of off. Like I didn't really belong there, I'm sure I'm a man, I guess. I'm not a man, really, but, I'm a boy, surrounded by a lot of men. That doesn't exactly feel off. What feels off is that, I didn't grow up around this stuff. I don't really have much experience with it outside of this. And that's fine, sure. People bring their kids all the time, but I'm in this odd age now where I'm no longer at the point where, I could just say no and not come. But I want to come, that's the thing. But a lot of people who actually bring their kids, they just end up, putting off the kid to the side and be like, oh, watch your iPad and drink some Coke. There's a lot of Coke. But, I'm kind of, again, in this weird age where I could just say no, but I think there's a lot of benefits coming. Such as this charger. I know that seems so stupid, but this charger was free. A lot of people who have a lot of tech don't care or don't want some of their old tech. And no, that's not the benefit of coming here. I mean, I guess it kind of is. People like to sell things. You give them money, you support them, and you get something cool in return. That's one of the reasons to come, I guess. Another good reason is, honestly, just for me, getting footage of things. I think getting footage of monitors up close looks very interesting, especially considering they're CRTs, not just any random monitor.
Will say yes. Everybody loves music. Music accompanies you in every single part of your life. But people just need to understand and realise it just doesn't happen by accident. Like, it's not just about Spotify. Let's get some live music up in everyone's body. This changes the game. Like what Mark Bavuni, Bang Factory did at Prince of Wales.
Hello, I'm Two. I'm trying to think when I first started going to Swag. It's quite a long time ago now, really. Can't even remember how I first heard about it. But I can't have gone there until I got an Amiga, because I got the Amiga from Scott, who I used to work with. Because I remember saying to him at work how I wanted to get an Amiga, but they're quite expensive. And then one day he gave me his old one from the attic, which was really generous, the load of hardware. Because I never had an Amiga growing up, but when I was younger, I knew they existed and they were good for playing games. So I think that's why I wanted to have a go on one now, because it was something I missed out on growing up, and they always seemed very special as a kid. So yeah, when I first started going to the Amiga thing, I felt like a bit of a fraud, because everyone else there grew up with them, pretty much. Well, that's what they say anyway. Whereas I was just going along because it was a cool thing to go up to and meet up with those people and be able to play around on my Amiga there. But yeah, I've been going there for many years, and mostly with you, Ethan. I think you've been to almost as many as I have. I think I've only been to one or two without you. But yeah, twice a year. It's quite nice just to go and nerd out for a few hours. And the nicest bit is just having a chat with other people there, really, because they share similar outlooks and interests, so you can just have a chat with them. Yeah, it's a funny one, really. I think people that like computers, they tend to be quite forward-looking. They like to play with new technology. But then also, I guess they get nostalgic for the older stuff as well, either because they were there at the time or just because they have an interest in it. Yeah, it's a nice thing to do. Get an excuse to play on the Amiga, because when I've got it at home, I don't really do that. Yeah. Anything else I should talk about? I'm trying to think what else there is to say. Yeah, I think it's interesting the different types of people that go there. Because I think everyone does something different. You know, you get some people that just bring these dirty old machines which they just like to use, and some people kind of create these modern ones really where there's nothing really original about it, they just change every part out. Some people like to have a CRT, although it's mostly LCDs there now, which is understandable because they're more practical in many ways. Yeah, it's just interesting seeing what different people get out of it. But also, I have to keep reminding myself not to be too assuming, because you go there and you just see a bunch of people, you don't know them, but you don't know their story, just like the one we were at recently where Andy Davidson was there, who created Worms. It's gone on to become a multi-million-pound franchise. And I didn't know what he looked like. I didn't know he was there, but he was just wandering around. And there's been other people there I've kind of bumped into and spoken to and realised they've played a big part in something that's impacted a lot of people. I mean, even our friend Scott, who goes there working for Unknown Worlds, working on Subnautica, a game which I really like. Yeah, it's cool. And I guess a reminder that everyone's carrying around a lot of history with them that you just don't know about unless you go and speak to them.